to be cruel or a sadist. It's not what I do, but there's truth in the statement. Everyone's a few too short of a playlist. All this time I spent trying to see myself, the only thing I saw was a lie. Nowadays I just try to conceal myself, a CD on your shelf. Who am I? I used to look at life like what it was or wasn't. Split my time between the frying.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome to something I did before, but I haven't really done on YouTube, but I did before, but I'm trying to do again. Welcome to A Piece of My Mind with me, yes, me, not DDP, but the greatest group champ in top rope history, the soundboard extraordinaire, the jack of all trades, the master of absolutely none, the South Philly Sycho. How's it going, everybody? I am here today to basically give you a small breakdown of Raw. And I'm not going to go through it match by match. I'm not going to sit here. If you watched it, you watched it. If you didn't, I'm sure there's highlights someplace else. I'm going to go through it the way that we always went through it on our show. And I'm going to give you just another oldie but a goodie from Top Rope. And if y'all are watching this for the first time, you might enjoy it. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, sorry, y'all. I was having too much fun with that. Let's start out with the good. Because there wasn't much. I'll be honest. This is the first time I've watched Raw in a very long time. Like, sat through it 8 to 11 all the way, and there were a couple of good moments. I mean, for the crowd, for SummerSlam, for whatever, Cena was a good moment. I kind of enjoyed it. I could tell the fans in Texas enjoyed it, and that was cool because I've still got a soft spot for fans. So, you know, Cena actually coming through for them, yeah, that was a good moment. It felt weird. Maybe it's just me, but it felt weird that he's cutting a promo and basically talking shit on Roman Reigns on Monday. We all know Reigns is not there. So as good as it was, that was my one little tiny piece of bad, was like, okay, so you're out here and you're saying all these things about Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman who are not in the building. It kind of makes you sound like a punk, but whatever. I digress. I think you see my point. And there was another good that I've been wondering about and that we've been talking about on Top Rope Wrestling Talk for months at this point. That's good coffee. And that was the return of Keith Lee. Bobby Lashley put an open challenge out there. You hear the music, you see him come out, you're like, oh my God, he's back. Because there was a lot of speculation out there for a long time. And a lot of people didn't know what was going on. We were 3 of them, if you watch our show. So it was great to see him. He had a very nice match with Bobby and everything else. But that, in turn, led into a bad moment. And that was after a pretty decent match, like 10, 12 minutes after a decent match, a very entertaining match, a very back and forth match, hit Goldberg's music. Oh my God. Hit Goldberg's music because we couldn't give Brock enough money. Hit Goldberg's music because we can't figure out how to move forward with our product in 2021. Hit Goldberg's music because he's an attraction. Just no. I know it went over well with the crowd. I know they were chanting Goldberg. I know what, and I know I gave them a little love for Cena. That's where I draw my line, right there. It's one thing for Cena to come back and be Cena and people to enjoy it because we know what we're going to get from John Cena. And yeah, 5 moves of doom, whatever you want to call it, but the promo wars between these two, the build to this match, everything is going to be phenomenal. The match, we'll see. Here's the problem. We also know what we're going to get from Goldberg. We know exactly what you're going to get from Goldberg. We've seen it. You're going to get him gassed in 90 seconds. You're going to get him in a 3-minute match because that's all he can handle. You're going to get him doing maybe 2 moves. Maybe. At least Cena's got 5. And Cena's a lot younger. So I don't know who they're booking this stuff for. I would have personally rather seen Keith Lee, for starters, against Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. I'd rather see Big E, who won the Money in the Bank over the weekend, and that was for Christ's sake, that was not only a good moment, that was a great moment. We at Top Rope Wrestling Talk have been saying push Big E to the moon since last year's live draft coverage, and to see him win that Money in the Bank, I was so happy for him. I would love to see him and Bobby at SummerSlam. Congratulations, Big E. Let me backtrack and just give you a round of applause for that, because it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I enjoyed that. So if he came out and stepped to Bobby Lashley and tried to get some revenge on Kofi, or just, told Bobby Lashley, why don't you pick on somebody your own size? Great moment, great story, great build to SummerSlam coming. But instead we get Goldberg. So yeah, I was more than a little. I was a lot annoyed at the fact that we're doing this again, and the fact that we're doing this again leads me to the announcement that Rhea Ripley was getting another title match against Charlotte Flair in the main event. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, is this the moment where we get Becky Lynch, because she had teased us on her Instagram and on her social medias saying that she was in Fort Worth on Sunday. She kind of put some stuff out there hinting at the possibility that, she was coming back. And yeah, that never happened. So we ended up, and I hate saying it this way because Charlotte is a tremendous competitor. Rhea is an amazing talent. But when you put them in the ring together with a title on the line 6, maybe 7 times in the last 3 months, I'm over it. I've seen every way that this could end. We saw it again. It was pretty much the same old ending. Rhea wins by disqualification. Oh, you mean like Charlotte won by disqualification at Hell in a Cell, and they never dropped the cell and just said, we're going to keep this going? Where's Teddy Long? Like we could have ended this then. All we needed was Teddy Long. Hold on, plats. Nope, we didn't get that either. Instead, we're still going with this. Okay. Now, it did lead to a moment that was kind of a little good, a little bad, but not ugly. And that was Nikki cashing in, hitting the high cross body, getting the 3 count, and winning the Raw Women's Championship. Which is a good moment. I am a Nikki Cross fan. Okay, I have been since NXT. I have been since Sanity. I enjoyed her work. I enjoyed her friendship with Alexa Bliss that led to a feud, sort of, with Alexa Bliss. We never really got the full payoff for that, but I've enjoyed her for many, many years. I love the fact that she's got the Raw Women's Championship. I hate the fact that she has to dress up like a superhero to hold it. I'm sorry. And yes, I know I'm gonna hear like it was her idea, and And that's fine. But sometimes women in WWE have to come up with ideas because either they're not getting used or the ideas that were given to them are just flat out horrible. Nikki was more in the not getting used section. Not much anyway. But let me take you back to years ago now. And a woman who I have a boatload of respect for, no pun intended. Natty. Natalya Neidhart. She was on Raw every week, and she was given this weird gimmick angle story where she was the farter. Yeah, that was a thing. For those of you who are too young to remember, go back and Google it. That was a thing that happened. She was the farter. Okay. And this isn't like ancient history. This is relatively recent. And Natty was not happy with it for obvious reasons. I mean, would you be? If I'm known as the farting podcast host, then maybe I'm getting a few more views. But if I'm on national TV and they're telling me to fart, I'm probably not happy about it. So Natty eventually came up with the idea to kind of make herself the crazy cat lady instead. And the reason that idea came into her head was she was trying to think of something that was hokey enough, corny enough, dare I say immature enough for old man Vinny to pop on it so that she could get the fuck out of this gimmick. I feel like we're in another situation with Nikki Cross where, yeah, she didn't have a horrible gimmick, but she wasn't really getting any time on television. She wasn't really going anywhere. Let's just be real about it. She wasn't going anywhere. So she comes up with this idea to be Nikki ASH or Ash or whatever, almost superhero. And she pitches it to Vince. And of course, Vince is going to love it because Vince was the man who also got behind Rosie becoming the superhero in training. I don't know if you remember Rosie and Jamal, 3-minute warning, that sort of thing. But when that broke up and Jamal eventually became Umaga, rest in peace. Rosie, rest in peace, ended up with the Hurricane and became a superhero in training. So we had Nikki Ash, which almost feels like Rosie, who was the shit. And had Rosie climbed the ladder back in the day and grabbed the Money in the Bank briefcase as the superhero in training, I think we would have had a lot of outcry. Had he won the WWE Championship, I think we would have had a lot of outcry. Like, oh, this guy had to do all this, go through all this just to get to where he is right now. Nikki does it and it's her idea. That's where the bad comes in. I love Nikki Cross. I absolutely love Nikki Cross. I think she's tremendously talented, tremendously gifted. Obviously, she's very adaptable to situations because she's going from the crazy chick in Insanity to Alexa's best friend to almost a superhero. So she's very multifaceted. She's very good in the ring. She's got everything you could practically want. But she has to do all this. And even at the time when it happened, I was not only watching it. Unfortunately, she's not here. She has to work. But my wife was watching it with me. And when she saw this all go down, she sees Nikki in the crowd holding up that title. At first, she had this moment where she marked out. Like she jumped up, yes. And then all of a sudden, it was like I could see what I was feeling happening to her because all of a sudden, it just like something snapped in her head, and she sat back down and she looked at me and she went, as good as this is, it's kind of sad. And I asked her why. And she said, because I love Nikki Ditto. This is why I love her. But I also feel like Vince McMahon will do anything to chip away at the women's revolution. And if that means making a joke gimmick a champion, then so be it, because he thinks it's good. And I don't know if I feel that strongly about it, but I can definitely see where she's coming from. And like, that's something that maybe me and a lot of my fellow podcasters, fellow creators, whatever you want to call us, don't really hear or pay attention to, is like the female perspective on this. How do women feel when they see this? Are they all in the same boat as my wife? Because I did not expect her to go that far with it. I did not expect her to jump up and be happy at first and then think, man, Vince McMahon is fucking us. I didn't expect that. And I'd never thought about, like, how do women, like, are there women out there? Do the bulk of women feel the way that my wife does? And then beyond that, because, I've got the mind of a psycho, but it's still kind of sharp. But beyond that, once that thought hit, the next thought was, how many of these women feel the same way? How many of these women won't turn up to watch Raw? How many of these women won't come back to watch pay-per-view because they feel this way? And so it's like, regardless, then if that's all true, man, like, if there are the bulk of women out there who feel or have felt the way my wife does right now, I gotta be honest, guys. Like, I'm not a white knight. I'm not any of that shit. But I gotta be honest with you, because that's who I am. This is a piece of my mind. You're gonna get exactly how I think you feel. If this is what you're doing, then and these people are who you're alienating, maybe that's the real reason your ratings are dropping. Because this is the same woman who will sit around and watch Impact Wrestling with me and love it because the knockouts kick ass. And they do. They absolutely do. This is the same woman that will watch AEW with me and gawk over Britt Baker. This is the same woman who will watch NWA and applaud people like Thunder Rosa or Camille or whoever. But she feels this way about at least Raw. I don't know about SmackDown. I'd have to ask her. And maybe that's why your ratings are the way that they are. Because you created a revolution and then you've picked at it and picked at it and picked at it and picked at it. And this is another example. And it's not Nikki's fault. Nobody's blaming Nikki. My wife freaked out because she loves her. That second feeling that she had, that feeling that makes it that made it part of my bad as well as part of my good, that doesn't come from Nikki. We all know where that comes from, and it ain't Steph. So maybe just some food for thought there. And from there, we're going to get into my ugly. And I know you think Goldberg was, but he's not. He was just on bad. And my ugly is Karrion Kross's debut on Raw with the NXT Championship. He walked in there. Every match he's had in WWE, whether it's NXT, had some dark matches, main event, the whole nine, undefeated, absolutely undefeated when he walked in there with the NXT title around his waist. But there were a few things missing here. For one, the biggest one was Scarlett. The next biggest one was, of course, everything that, and I know other people have said this, and I have no other way to explain it, so I'm going to say it too. All the stuff that Adam Cole talked about in his promo a few weeks ago, the black and white, the smoke, the aura, the mystique, that Karrion Kross has brought with him that made him special. I mean, sure, he's more than that, but this is what Adam Cole said. His words, not mine. So there was that. But you're still thinking, okay, he's debuting on Raw. This could be cool. And he's debuting against Jeff Hardy. And honestly, guys, I know I don't watch Raw a lot. Like I said, this is the first time I tuned in a while. And I did enjoy some of it. But let me ask you, when was the last time we saw Jeff Hardy? I can't remember. I love the guy. I think he's a tremendous talent. I cannot remember the last time they used him in anything meaningful or at all. But all of a sudden, here he is, and what's the song called? No More Words is playing, and I'm like, please don't give Jeff Hardy pyro. Whatever you do, cut the pyro. Don't do it. I've seen this happen before. You don't want to do it. Trust me. But I just thought, okay, they're doing this to kind of make you remember who Jeff Hardy is, so that when Karrion Kross beats him, it'll be a big deal. But we've only discussed entrances so far, boys and girls. We've only discussed the ramp section of this particular match. And once the match started, yes, it was very competitive. It was very good. And there were a couple of times where I thought maybe Kross would pull it off. And then all of a sudden, here's Jeff hitting a swanton. And I thought, oh, well, he's kicking out. It's disrespectful, but he's kicking out because he's Karrion Kross. Nope. 1, 2, 3. And the look on my face is kind of like, just thinking about it. I had a similar look. It was probably more dramatic, but I'm just how the hell did this just happen? Like, why did you do this? You brought him out to what was basically a jobber entrance on Monday Night Raw while he's wearing the NXT Championship. And he's undefeated. And then you put him in a match with a guy you haven't used in forever. And then he lost. Now you can say, oh, well, they can use this on NXT for Cole or for Joe or for whoever, or they could use this as when they call him up, as he's got an axe, he's got an axe to grind with Jeff Hardy. You can say whatever you want to say. And none of it, as far as I'm concerned, because this show is not called A Piece of Your Mind. So none of it, as far as I am concerned, will take away from the fact that you had an undefeated NXT champion debut on your show and lose to a man who has not been on in I don't know how long, who has been in mothballs for months. I mean, what, Elimination Chamber, maybe? I'm trying to think back on it while I'm talking to you guys, and I think Elimination Chamber is the last thing I remember Jeff Hardy being a part of. That was a while ago. And he comes back, and he beats Karrion Kross, who, again, is undefeated, wearing the NXT title to the ring. I mean, as far as my memory serves me, and you guys can, please, if I'm wrong, leave it in the comments below. I'm not saying I'm right all the time, but I'm right most of the time. It's why I have 20 championships. Now, getting that out the way, here's the deal. There have maybe been 2 times in NXT's history that I remember an NXT champion showing up with the belt on them and having a match in WWE on Raw or at a pay-per-view. Karrion Kross last night, obviously, number 1. Kevin Owens, when he popped up and assaulted John Cena. And then they had a match at a pay-per-view. And Owens won. But Karrion Kross shows up and he loses to Jeff Hardy. And again, I scratch my head, guys, because there are a lot of people that defend these decisions. there are a lot of people that have defended this whole carrying cross thing on social media already. And how does Wendy say it? It's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion, but your opinion is wrong. Because if WWE is possibly doing everything they can to chip away at the women's evolution, WWE is also doing everything they can to chip away at everything NXT has built. Because back then when Owens came out and the title was still an X and all that, they were still building that promotion. And what better way to build it up than to have your NXT champion defeat John Cena? And ever since that particular brand came to network television, they have been doing their best to picket it and just knock it down peg after peg. It's getting hard to remember that the last Survivor Series that NXT was involved in, they won. It's getting harder and harder to figure out if NXT is still a developmental brand or if they're a full-fledged network brand / show like they're made out to be. I still love them. I do. I watch them. I'll probably be watching them tonight. But what the hell is NXT anymore? Is it its own brand? Is it developmental for the main roster? Are these even call-ups anymore? Because people are saying that when you talk about Toni Storm, Shotzi Blackheart, Tegan Knox, call-ups. But they're all on network television. They all get 2 to 3 hours a week. They all have their own belts. NXT even got their own tag team titles. So is this particular facet of your company developmental, or is it a brand? Because if it is developmental, then why do you change people when they come up? Nikki Cross has been changed a lot. Keith Lee, he got changed a lot. Everybody that's come up has been changed a lot. And if you're developing these people so that when they get on a roster, they have their gimmick, they know what they're doing, they can just run to the main roster and take off and get over and go places. Why do you change them a week after they get there? Why do you change them at all? The only way it makes sense to change them is if NXT is now a full-fledged brand. But again, it's getting hard to remember that NXT won the last Survivor Series they were in. It's getting hard to believe them as a brand when these drafts come up. NXT is not a part of it. They don't have any say. They can't take anybody from the roster. We just give you who we give you. We had given you Finn Balor. We want him back. Here's Mandy Rose in trade. They didn't ask for Mandy. They didn't. They probably weren't even given the option to give up Finn Balor. It just happened. Then when everybody else, Naomi was traded to SmackDown, and they're gonna get, and the details will come later, and eventually they'll all come out. All right. But with NXT, it's just here. We want this person, we want that person, we want the other one, and we'll give you this person that we're not doing anything with, or that we've ruined already. See Finn Balor. They weren't far off with Mandy Rose either, let's be real. So it's very hard to figure out what NXT is. I know it's enjoyable, which is something that you can't always say about Raw. You can hardly say about Raw. And I know people give Raw a lot of leeway, and I try to do the same because we grew up on it. You know, Raw's been around since I was a little psycho myself, since I was my son's age. So I try to give it leeway. I really do. but there's only so much leeway I can give you. And then eventually, even my inner child is bored to tears, and I'm changing the channel. Didn't happen last night, but if you remember my last live stream, 5 minutes in, I was like, I'm done. I'm not even going to get into John Morrison and America's Moist Wanted, because that speaks for itself. I'm not going to get into all the stuff in between, because let's be honest, y'all, it was filler for a 3-hour show. A 3-hour show of one of the biggest company in the world for wrestling, with the biggest roster, and they have to fill time on their show. That's about all I can really say. I think that sums it up pretty well. So I'm going to get out of here for now. I'm going to thank anybody that's actually watched this. This was just thrown together last minute because I had a little bit of time to spend with y'all. And if you want more of a glowing review, I'll recommend you go check out Anthony at the Titantron. He did a little raw review with some Dark Elevation in it, with some NXT, with a few other things. It was very good. I watched it. I loved it. Please check that man out, the Titantron on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. See, Anthony, I love you. You right here, dude. My guy. That's my middle name, by the way. Anyway, thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for watching this. Please hit that like button. Leave any comments you have below. Don't forget to subscribe to Fox Den Productions. I'm only saying that because Google won't let me change that. But when you search for Fox Den Productions, don't be alarmed if you see a page that comes up that says TRWT, because that's who we are. You'll see a page that comes up that says TRWT, in parentheses, a Fox Den John. That's us. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell, because we will be back to you, all three of us, this time, because Brucey's got his technical difficulties worked out. Yay! We will be back to you Friday. And also be on the lookout for a Money in the Bank wrap-up show that I will be doing with Anthony from Titantron, along with Circle of Debate and Clark Street Wrestling Podcast. I'm very excited for that. I'm not exactly sure when it comes out yet, but I know we are going to be recording possibly tomorrow. I got to check one, but possibly tomorrow. Should be coming out in the near future. Keep your eyes out for that. Subscribe to these guys too. We are all members of the League of Extraordinary Podcasts, which TRWT is the newest edition. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited about that. I will never stop saying that. And you can see all our social medias, our podcast platforms at the bottom of this ticker. But in case I do release it to our audio podcast platforms, find us on Facebook at Top Rope Wrestling Talk. We have a public group for fans who want to come in, get involved in these pick forms with me, maybe try to take one of my championships. We also have a podcast page now on Facebook. Search for Top Rope Wrestling Talk. You'll see, entertainment website. Go in there. Make sure you follow that one. You'll see some episodes. You will see our brand spanking new merch, because we at TRWT have gone through some upgrades. I think you see as far as the YouTube show, we have some new backgrounds, some new tickers, some new logos, some whatever, and have a brand new merch page that you can go to, and you will find some of our classic logos. I've even released a new one that has the TRWT 3, our lovely faces in it, and you can get it on everything from shirts to mugs to the list goes on and on, but you can find it all at threadless.com. Wait a minute, this isn't the shop. Why is this not the shop? There we go. You can find it at TRWT merch, all one word, .threadless.com. Sorry guys, it's all new to me. I'll get it down, I promise. But TRWT merch .threadless.com. You'll see some of our classic logos. You'll see the new one with Bruce and Grandma Wendy and I, and we have a whole plethora of new options. There are bath mats, beach towels, slip-on shoes, stickers, magnets, buttons, everything you can think of right there at threadless.com. TRWT merch.threadless.com. It's very cool. You can also find us on Twitter at TopRopeWT. You can find us on Instagram at top_rope_wrestling_talk. Oh, you know I love you, Brucey, but damn. And check out our audio podcast platforms. You can find pretty much all of them either at anchor.fm/TRWT. And you can now find us on the wrestlingindex.com. Just go to the website, search for Top Rope. We pop up. Our episodes are there, the whole nine. I'm very proud of that. Thousands of podcasts and our little podcast that could. So thank you to the Wrestling Index. It's an honor. And the only other one that I can think of that you have to search for is iHeartRadio. We are there, and you can listen to us, but it's not on my Anchor page. So just go to iHeart, again, search for Top Rope. We pop up. You can listen there. People do, and we thank you. But until later this week, enjoy NXT. Enjoy Fyter Fest Night 2, because I know I'm going to be enjoying those as well. And we will definitely catch you on Friday. Don't work too hard, y'all. Enjoy wrestling. If it ain't your cup of tea, let somebody else drink it.